Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining me. This is Deanne Castro, Creative Memories Advisor from Bakersfield, California, and I'm having a few technical difficulties, so hang in there with me. Oh boy, I'm not quite sure what I'm doing half the time. Anyway, got a new border for you. This one is using the Scrap Happy 2 paper, Creative Memories paper, and the Shutter Love Camera Chain Border Maker cartridge. So we will go over to my desktop and I'll show you what we're doing. Okay, so this is the Border Maker cartridge. It goes in this cartridge right here. And this is the one we're going to be making today. So this is using the Camera Love Border Maker cartridge. This is kind of outlining the original punched border, and I don't know if you can see it, but there's shimmer on the paper that I used. It's a foiled paper, so I love how it just sparkles and shines. Okay, then I also am using the Starry Night Blue. This has just some white pen marks on it, and the Starry Night Blue is also right up behind the other camera punch here, so it stands out a little better. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. So some of this paper was already pre-cut because I made kits for a bunch of ladies for an event that I went to. So I'm going to put the paper in here. And since it was pre-cut, I put Post-it notes on it so that the paper would go over the magnet here, Post-it note paper. That way it's holding this other piece in place for me when this is closed. Okay, I'm going to fold this underneath. This little mark here on this cartridge lines up with all of these marks here on this tray. Okay, so you put the paper in, line up the marks, you'll feel it snugly put in there, and then go ahead and punch. Now the first punch I always pull out just so it doesn't, nothing kind of gets stuck up in there. Put the paper back in, and then you can usually slide it down without things getting kind of bunched up inside the punch. You'll punch it 6 times, and you will have this piece punched. And sometimes there's a little bit left over. You can trim it off, pull it off, whatever you'd like. It's good to go. Now this, once it's punched, will have a bunch of little hearts that you can use. I am not going to be using them. Let me show you a little closer. But you can save them and use them for another border or something if you want. But for the sake of time, I'm not going to be saving these. I'm just going to put them in the trash can and we'll move on. Okay, so we've used that piece. Now we're going to punch another one of these using the Starry Night shimmer paper. So I'm going to, this piece is a lot bigger, so I'm just going to put it in per usual, line it up in the cartridge right here. And sometimes the paper is a little big, it's a little wider than 12 inches, so it might bunch up a little bit here on the top or the bottom, but sometimes it just does that. Put the tray back underneath and get started again. And because that piece is a little wider than 12 inches, I'm going to have to trim it off, but that's okay. Not helpful. Okay. Throw away the extra pieces. And I'm done with this piece. Oh, did I show you this paper pack? I don't remember showing you. I'm using the Scrap Happy 2 accent paper pack. So 3 of the pieces are foiled on one side, but not on the other. So there you go. Okay, so now I'm just going to trim this here on the end. And now I'm actually going to take this piece and I'm going to cut it in half. So I'm going to try to line it up on the trimmer to where if I cut it kind of down the middle, I'll have the top piece and the bottom piece, and they're stuck together. So you have to just kind of eyeball it to make sure that it's going to cut and the pieces are going to, the halves are going to kind of stay together. One time I did this and I got a bunch of the top that didn't stay together, but I was able to use it the way I wanted to. So, okay, so I have this piece and I have this piece. And I got a bunch of little pieces from the middle that are kind of in the way there. Part of the little camera part that cut off, but that's okay because I don't need them. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to put adhesive on this piece. And I'm going to take the two pieces that I cut in half and adhere them on the back of this piece to give me kind of a shadow effect. Okay, so I'll show you what I mean. I want the top to stick out just a little bit. Just backwards. Here we go. So I'm just going to layer it on here with a little bit of that blue sticking up over the top. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same thing with the bottom. I'm going to layer it just so. Let me turn this around. Here we go. Just so some of the blue sticks out from the bottom. And that way it will shadow this enough to where the piece will stick out or kind of stand out when I put it on the paper. Okay, so see what I did here? So we've got the blue sticking out on the top and the bottom. And that way I didn't have to cut another piece and adhere it on there. So I just cut that in half. Okay, all right. The next thing we're going to do is we are going to cut a wavy piece using this sheet of paper. So we're going to use the wavy trimmer. And the one side I need to get wavy first. And I only want to cut a little bit off of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line the paper up with this line that's right above here. Right there, that goes all the way down. It just comes right above each of the wave pieces. Okay, and I'm going to center it. I'm going to have the blocks, one set of blocks sticking out on each side so that it's centered. Okay, then I'm going to put this down here, and I've got that lined up. See, I've got it centered, where I've got it on the line. That's showing on that side. That's showing on this side. So I know that it's centered. And I'm going to trim it. Okay, I don't need this piece. And now I'm going to flip it around. And I'm going to cut this piece about this wide. So this is going to be, it's not centered. Make sure it's centered. Okay, I'm going to measure this because I want the middle of it to be, I want it to be about 2¼ inches. So it's 1, 2¼ inches. Yeah, so I want the largest wavy pieces to be about 2¼ inches wide. So then that's lining this edge up right at this 1/2 inch mark, the 3½ inch mark here on this side. And this end piece at the 1/2 inch mark there too. For some reason that doesn't look right. Okay, let's get there. Okay, so that it's even. So you want it centered. I'm going to measure that again because I moved it. I want it to be about 2¼ inches. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Now I'm going to cut it again. Okay, now I'm going to score it because I want those little wavy pieces on the edge to be folded in. So I'm going to take out my cutting blade and change it out with my scoring blade. And I'm going to line these little, I guess, valley parts right up along the edge where this is going to trim. But it's not going to trim it, it's just going to score it. So up there. So just so this comes down right about where the cutting blade would put, it's going to actually score right on that edge. So it'll bring the paper in, not quite 1/8 of an inch, but close. Okay. So now you want to press down just hard enough to where it will fold the paper, but not to where it's going to cut through the paper. And you're going to do that on both sides. Okay, so we're going to score this side. Okay, so you can see how it's got those folds. Can you see it on that side? Both sides have the folds. It's not showing it. There we go. So see that little fold mark right there? Goes right across. So now I want to make sure I'm using the correct side. So this is the part that's going to have the camera put on top of it. So this is the side that I want to fold the top part in. Now I'm going to use quite a bit of adhesive because for some reason, these do not like to stay down. But see, I'm using the regular adhesive because it's stronger than the repositionable. And I want to use quite a bit of the tape to get it to stay down. Okay. So now I'm going to fold these edges in along the score mark. And fold it really good. Because in some of the other ones that I've done, these folds do not like to stay down. So use plenty of adhesive and fold them over. Okay, do the same thing for the other side. and fold these as well. Okay, next, we're going to adhere this down in the center of this border piece. Okay, so you can use your regular adhesive, or you can use the repositionable, whichever you want. It doesn't really matter. Just make sure that the tape doesn't show through the little hole areas. Okay, over there, right here. Okay, turn it around and center this down the middle. Get all those little folds down. Okay, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to take some tangerine cardstock and you're going to cut it out one and 7/8, sort of. You can just kind of judge however uh, much you want of the tangerine to show out on either end. My initial measurement said 1 and 7/8, so I'm going to measure that and see if it's still going to work. So that's almost 2 inches. Okay, so I'm going to put it on there, 2 inches. Put this on here and make sure it's going to show. Yeah, it might be a little more than what I want. Maybe I'm going to do 1 3/4. Yeah, I'm just going to do 1 3/4. So just kind of judge, just look and see how your folds went in, what size your folds were. And then you can judge from there on how wide you want this piece. Okay, because then when you put it on here, you don't want a whole lot showing through. You want enough to show the color. Okay, so now I'm going to adhere this onto that. I just love how this paper shimmers. I feel bad I'm covering up this much on the side, but that's okay. A little bit shows through. Okay. Center it on the tangerine piece. And then the last piece you're going to cut is going to be the dark blue shimmer again. And you're going to do another wavy piece. Okay, so we're going to get the wavy trimmer back out. And get this piece. Okay, you're again going to center it and just cut a little bit off like we did the last time. Okay. Then we're going to turn it around. And this piece we want to be about 2 5/8 wide. So I'm going to center it on here and make it 2 5/8 inches. So that's 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, right about there. So the edges of your paper from the wave is going to be about the 4-inch mark. Okay, so see the edge of this paper right here and the 4-inch mark? You're going to line that up on the top and on the bottom. Okay, so the edge right at the 4-inch mark right there. Okay, and that's the wave. So you've got to cut all the way through. And I don't. Let's put that back. Okay. Okay, now you're going to center this piece on here, like so. Put some adhesive on the back. Center it on here. And you're done. Now, if you want, I had a white chalking pen. Oh, I'm not quite sure where it went. But I have a white micro tip pen. So that might work. So if you want, you can go around. I think when this dries, it turns white. So if you want, you can add some little dots on the top and on the bottom. And you can just kind of decorate it up however you want. You can make this wave a little smaller, so not quite so much, but shows out over the side. Let's see, is that drying? Coming out blue, but it's telling me that it's white. So I think when it dries, it's going to be white. But that's what I did on this one. Little white dots, just kind of add a little bit to it. All right, there we go. We're all done with this one. So thank you all so much for joining me. If you like this video and haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do. I would appreciate it. That would be marvelous. And I hope you're all having a great week so far. And check out my other videos on my YouTube channel. You can also, if you have any questions, you can email me at dncmc2@yahoo.com. I also have a Facebook group that's kind of in progress. I want to show new products that are coming out each month. Sometimes it's about twice a week. So I'll post those on there. And then you guys, if you've made these borders, go ahead and request to join my group and share with us on what you've done with these borders, what colors you've used, and that kind of thing. Because all of this is really interchangeable. You can use different border maker cartridges and stuff like that. So just take these ideas and run with them and then share them on my Facebook group. If you don't have an advisor, I would be happy to help you out. You can check out my website. But if you do have an advisor, please get a hold of her because I'm sure she works very hard for you and finding the tools and stuff that you need, and you can order off of her website. So I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks so much for joining me. Bye.